Hi, welcome to the Closet Philosophy Podcast. This is Janine. I'm a personal stylist.
And this is Kristen. I'm a fashion writer, and we're here to uncover the ways that your personal style is so much more than just clothes.
Whether you realize it or not, what you wear touches on science, psychology, culture, politics, and so much more. Today, we're joined by someone who has spent over 2 decades redefining how we experience fashion, bridging the worlds of sustainable style, luxury, and technology. Erin Wallace has been a driving force in the fashion industry, from helping to pioneer the sustainable fashion movement as head of marketing, brand, and creative at ThredUp, to championing accessible style for over a decade at Crossroads Trading. She's also lived out every fashion lover's dream by launching her own clothing line, Huga. Now, as head of marketing at ModeSens, Erin is at the forefront of luxury tech, helping shoppers navigate the world of high-end style. Welcome. So glad you're here.
Thank you.
We're
Thanks
so
for the
happy to
invite.
have you here. Thank you, Erin.
Yeah, good to see you both.
Yeah. So, your personal style is such a strong part of your brand as a marketing leader. And so, I'm super curious, have you always dressed super stylishly? Has this always been your style, or is it something that has evolved over time?
Oh, it's totally evolved over time. I like to joke like I've been able to be a marketing leader in spite of my style, which is definitely sometimes outside the average when you're sitting in a boardroom. I definitely have stood out in a lot of meetings. But I think in terms of like my style evolution, I think it took me like a long time to actually kind of land in a place fashion wise where I felt totally me every time I got dressed. And it took a lot of years of just playing and experimenting. My style changed a ton over the years, and I kind of chameleoned through different phases. But I was always like, enabled essentially by thrifting, because you could do it affordably. But I don't think I kind of landed on, I think, what people would probably consider to be like Erin's style. I mean, until I was 30 plus, late into my 30s, I'd say. So yeah, and I think that was really just as my confidence grew as a woman, as like a mother and just a human being. I got more mature and my style did too. And then and then I just felt confident because it's like even if it looked weird and strange to someone else or more avant-garde or something that they don't see every day, it felt perfectly natural to me. And I couldn't dial it back if I wanted to because I would just feel like I wasn't even in my own skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Sorry. It sounds
You go.
it sounds like your style helped you to feel more confident and to help you channel that essence that is Erin.
Yeah. I mean, I think, when you put on something that you're like, this is, I mean, everybody probably has like that thing, right? Like, uh, it often happens like with like a pair of shoes, which sounds so trite, but is totally not. But usually multiple, like 2 or 3 times every couple of years, I'll like run into a pair of shoes that like shifts my style or what is going to be like the change in my style for like 2 years or 3 years to come, like little tweaks. But it is like a glass slipper. And you put it on, you're like, this is me, and some people have that and it's like a jacket or a shirt or whatever. You put it on, you're like, this is so me. Like if everything you wear is so you, like that's so powerful, like head to toe, you're like you outside and inside. It's like it bridges the gap, and that's what you bring into a room. I think fashion is super powerful that way, and personal style is super powerful if you can land it. Some people, I think, are just not that sensitive to it, and they're probably lucky because they are comfortable in a lot of different things. For me, I'm very sensitive to it,
Mhm.
and so I'm very uncomfortable if I'm in something that doesn't feel fully like me.
Yeah. And when did
Wait,
you first realize that?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, I'm not sure when I fully could articulate that. I think that was quite late as well, probably not until late 30s. I feel like everything started coming together for me in my late 30s. I started to kind of really figure things out and give can I cuss? I just gave a few, I didn't give a shit. At that point,
You can cuss.
quite frankly, it's like I had gone through a divorce. I was kind of, done with like a 17-year relationship, and I had two small children. I was responsible for them financially. And I was just like, I don't give a shit at all. Like I'm just going to be me because I have to be. I just have to feel like I can take up space. I had to be in management. I had to be in rooms that were intimidating to me, and I needed every bit of like superpower that I could get to like, rise to the occasion of the career that would come for the next, 15 years. It was really like I was probably starting to just be more conscious of like using fashion as both armor and like a positive weapon, I would say. Like I needed all the confidence that I could get. So I relied on fashion. And I think as a result, my confidence in my personal style grew alongside that. So then the next thing I knew, I was like, I just dress the way I dress and have for years in things that I think most people often would probably put into the like man repelling outfit category. but, but it doesn't have to be for everyone. I don't dress for anyone really.
Yeah, and it sounds like now it comes pretty naturally to you. Like there was sort of this evolution where you were figuring it out, but now it's just it seems like it comes naturally.
Yeah, although, I'm curious from you guys, like I do think now I just turned 50, and I do think that there's like another evolution that's happened as I've changed over the last, handful of years. I feel like there's been more physical changes. I was very steady for, a long, long time. Like I basically cut all my hair off and like cemented who I was, and that stayed basically the same for, so many years. And then things have started to change, and I do feel like there's another style evolution coming, which I'm kind of excited to figure out, but it is a little destabilizing, Kristen, to suddenly be like, whoa, this doesn't feel 100% me anymore. So like, where do I go from here? But it's kind of fun, kind of scary, kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I've been in the same boat. I'm 56, so and I started to feel that destabilization right around the same time, like after I turned 50, and I happened to turn 50 and go through menopause during the pandemic, so that
Oh,
was like a double
joy.
whammy of
Yeah.
like fun to deal with. So I definitely get that. And I still like I'm still figuring out the evolution. I did a live styling session with Janine actually, which was
Oh,
super fun
amazing.
because yeah, she helped me, kind of think about things differently, and it helped shift my thinking a little bit and like made it a little bit easier to get dressed every day than it has been.
So
So,
maybe I need
and
to do that. I'm so curious.
yeah, she's got a really cool method that sort of like streamlines it and makes you think about it a different way. And she also, I'm outing her, but she also just turned 50. So, she,
Oh, happy
yeah,
birthday.
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
When's,
All the
do you,
best.
go.
do you guys have close birthdays?
Yeah. Well, your
Wait,
Are
birthday's
you,
in January, isn't it? Or December?
it's New Year's Eve. So
Okay.
oh, New Year's
Close.
baby.
when was yours?
March 1st.
Oh yeah, we are super close in age. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
How's it
So
feeling? How's it feeling?
Yeah, it's feeling good. I was just actually because like right now I'm doing a lot of client interviews for my business as a stylist, and just like hearing other women talk and about like why they want to make change in their lives and why now. And it's this kind of like this realization. My whole life just like went by so fast, and it was just like all of a sudden
Yeah.
it's like, wow, this is like there is so much in me that needs to come out, and it's like I'm not done yet, and that's like that feeling of like I'm not done yet, and I don't think the world has really seen Janine yet,
That's amazing.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, to feel that so clearly inside of you. I think I have like I'm stuck in a very it's so interesting to turn 50, and I have my kids are 19 and almost 17. So my son's in college. Cora, my daughter, is going to be a senior in high school, and then my partner has two kids who are in college and then a senior in high school. So we have like four kids in this like family, and we're almost down to one. So when we're joining households, there's like a lot of change happening
Mhm.
during this time for anyone, but I'm just kind of like, whoa, what is this like back half of my life going to look like? Because it's wild to like raise your children and like send them off. It's not like they're gone forever, but like, who am I in that chapter is really something that's like definitely on my mind, and I think is like affecting my style. And I'm betting with your clients, there's got to be. I mean, that's it's such a it's such a huge change. I
Mhm.
would imagine that it would like kind of, even if you don't have as like devoted a relationship with your clothes maybe as we do, but I would imagine you'd kind of want and seek change.
Yeah, well, I think it's like it's more of like almost a coming home.
Mhm.
It sounds like when I hear women talk about it, it's that it's like I've been in my life like service to other people for all of
Yeah,
these years, and it's always been about other people. And so like now it's like who am I? Like what you just said.
totally.
Who am I? And then exploring that and then just like seeing the value in who you are and just really making a point to step into that voice, which I think is, I think, and that's why I think that this stage of life is so powerful because like a lot of our lives, like we're just spend like kind of wondering who we are and not kind of looking for that person. And then at this stage, you're realizing like you've been there the whole time.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just,
that's interesting. I
yeah.
also feel like a lot of the women you work with are probably finding their style maybe for the first time ever.
Mm.
Because now the maybe kids aren't around anymore. They're not, like you said, in service to other people, and they're like, oh, like I want to go be out in the world and look like myself and feel comfortable, feel like myself and feel and not be invisible.
Yeah.
So and they may have never done that before.
And then yeah, and for a lot of women, like it's true, and this like kind of brings us to the next question is a lot of women struggle with the idea that fashion and leadership or like fashion and their career can coexist. And you kind of like mentioned this a little bit about being like the most boldly dressed person in the room. And so I'm wondering what would you say to somebody who thinks that dressing boldly would make them seem less serious in their career?
I mean, I think you only seem, well, I mean, it's not even like seriousness to me. It's really confidence. I think that if you feel like dressing boldly is representative of how you want to feel, then that will build your confidence. If you're dressing boldly to stand out or to make a statement, but it's not authentic to you, that undermines you. You're only like serving yourself or undermining yourself. Like you serve yourself by wearing what makes you feel like you. If you don't know what that is and you're trying things, it's probably going to be uncomfortable. Like that probably doesn't serve you. It's like, I think it's less about like boldness and more about authenticity. Like this is just what is authentically my style and what makes me feel the most me. It happens to look different than like all the people in the boardroom, but I'm so comfortable in my skin. It it never, I don't think it registers as different or loudly. It's like, of course, that makes perfect sense when you talk to Erin. She makes perfect sense as like an integrated package. That's kind of how I look at it. But if people are afraid that fashion itself, like the clothes itself, are the issue, it's not. That's not the case. It's like the wear. It's the combination of the person wearing them and the clothes. If they're out of sync, then the package is out of sync. You're like, what is happening there?
Yeah, and like now that you say that, it makes a lot of sense because I like we've known you for a number
Long
of years.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for a number of years. I think like the when I first met you, like you were still at Crossroads and I was at Independent Fashion Bloggers and we did that
Oh my God,
conference.
so long. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had longer hair then. You had a bob.
Yep.
So
Oh, I don't
You
think
need
I
me
ever
free
knew you had a
haircut. That is
bob.
like OG. Yes.
And so, and I think that is like one of the things that makes because one thing that is I don't know if you know this about you, but that you are a leader is very obvious to other people in the room. And I'm wondering if there's that like that being in touch with your authenticity is connected to that vibe.
Wow. I don't know. And thank you, by the way. Gosh, I don't. I, I think that as a leader, and quite frankly, like some of my jobs, my career has been scary. And I've really like scary from like a personal financial responsibility, from risk taking, from feeling from total imposter syndrome, like all of those things that a lot of women deal with. And I think I have just like manifested like a level of calmness and competency, like channel it in my body until I believed it, I think. And it's, I don't know, I think it's just who I've become over time. And I have had to be a leader, and I've had to show up in rooms that were scary to me and intimidating and be a leader. And so I don't know, practice makes perfect over time. But yeah, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, it reminds me of something that you had actually said to me one time. It was like a lot of times people don't know what their superpower is. Like they're like a fish in water that they're surrounded by it, but they don't know it.
Yes. I that's
Mm.
like I give that advice so many times to people, which is people discount their superpower because it's so effortless. And they don't actually recognize it as a skill that they're bringing that like people would kill to have, or that people like try to learn to do because it's just like breathing to them.
Mhm.
So trying to find those for people is like definitely a part of like just as a manager of people and teams, and especially I usually manage teams of women. It's something I always like to kind of like call out. Like that's it. Like the thing that you're doing that you're discounting and throwing away is like literally the thing that you need to lean into. It is the thing that will like differentiate you in your career.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such
And so,
awesome
so it sounds
advice.
like for you, it's like your authenticity.
I think so. I think I do. I have gotten that feedback. It's like that's like the a common thread. And I feel like that's right. I feel like I do feel relentlessly like myself. And it's very, very challenging for me to channel someone else. Like
Mm.
other people are really good at kind of compartmentalizing parts of their personality. And mine is just kind of like relentlessly just the same. So it's like I just, wherever I show up, there I am. But I think people appreciate it, that they can tell that they're like talking to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would imagine because I think people, especially in a manager, you appreciate like a certain consistent behavior. Like you don't really want a chameleon as a manager who is going to act a certain way in one scenario and then shift for another scenario necessarily. Like you want to know what to expect. And it
Yeah,
gives, I'm sure it gives people a sense of security
I think that's exactly
to,
right. I mean, I know it does for
yeah,
me. It's like, can I rely on this person from like an integrity point of view? But I mean,
yeah,
inconsistent behavior is also kind of like an integrity issue. It's like I can't trust
Mhm.
you in this
exactly.
relationship, and that's what people want. They want to feel secure. So
Yeah.
I totally get
Yeah,
that.
and I'm super curious about what you're doing now. Like, could you, for people who might not know, could you explain what ModeSense is and what you're doing there?
Yeah, so ModeSense is kind of like at the intersection of luxury fashion and tech, and it's basically like an affiliate model, like shopping aggregating site. So a lot of people find it when they're kind of like Google shopping, and they'll find it, and it's a site that has thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of brands, and hundreds and hundreds of partners, retail partners across the globe. So a lot of like luxury brands are on there, and it is a price comparison tool. So it's essentially like a tool for just shopping smarter. And I'm there leading all the marketing and creative functions, really restarting the company in a lot of ways. Needed a big rebrand. So we're just wrapping that up. That was actually a big appeal for me going into ModeSense, was basically the offer to restart a lot of the marketing and creative functions and to build out a team there. So I love building teams, and I love a big juicy rebrand. So that is like slowly rolling out in the next couple of months, which is exciting.
That's so exciting.
That is exciting. We'll keep an eye out
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
I will definitely,
Yeah.
like, when it's up and looking beautiful, I will let people know.
Yeah. I mean, you did really great work at ThredUp too. Because I remember when you
Yeah.
first started, like I had never heard of ThredUp. And so, and then, yeah, by the end of your time there, it was just like, like everybody knew,
Everybody knew about it. Yeah.
everybody knew about it. So, I mean, that's like
Thanks.
really powerful.
Yeah. I mean, that was like a dream job for many years. It really was. great place, great mission, great people. I had a really, really great time at that job. And we had, yeah, I had like honestly just the most brilliant team. Actually, I'm working with several of them again now. We have just kind of like this big family network at ThredUp of people who are there and people who've left, and yeah, very quality people. And yeah, we did really cool campaigns. I look back on all of that work, and we were really like part of the story around sustainability and the impact of choosing used over new. That was really like when I got there, it was basically like, hey guys, we can say the word used. We can stop pretending like we're the same as regular retail. We're not. And that's actually great. Like that was like a
Yeah.
big kind of shift in the brand and the marketing was stop trying not to be different and celebrating that difference. And I think everybody really wanted to. I think they needed a catalyst to just come in and be like, kind of give permission and shove the brand into that space. And I think again, to like authenticity, I think it was more authentic to the brand. Stop trying to pretend like you're something that you're not, and let's just lean into like how amazing and different, and not just like amazing and different and like more stylish you can be on a budget, but also just like let's really quantify the impact of choosing use over new and like educate people in a fun way. And that's basically what we spent like the 6 years that I was there doing.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. It sounds like what you were doing was applying what you apply to your life on a micro level and like how you present yourself to ThredUp on a macro level. And so, in a sense of like being who you are, because
I
being who
can't not be.
can't not be. Like, what's
Yeah.
the point of being something else? And so, like, I think that a lot of times, like people, and I hear this a lot from women that they are afraid of being that person and stuff, and they start to default to dressing safe because because they're afraid of standing out in the wrong way. Like I was talking to one client and she was saying that she's in marketing as well, and she was going to this conference, and there at the conference there's this one of the speakers is this the guru, but she wears pink plaid suits when she speaks at these conferences. And one of her coworkers, it was a male coworker, said like, "Oh, well, we can't really take her seriously because look what she's
Look what
wearing."
she's wearing.
Look where she's wearing. And so then that really stuck with her because she felt like she wanted to express her creativity and yet still be approachable, but she was afraid of being that pink plaid suit. So what would you say would be like the first step for breaking out of that kind of fear and that mindset?
I mean, that poor woman. In the I say that in a way that's just like if that's your takeaway from that man's comment, I think you're missing the point. You're never going to have respect from him because that's the lens that he's operating with.
Yeah.
It's how he views women. So,
Yeah. It's
I would
more
just
about him than it does about her.
it has nothing to do with the pink suit and everything to do with that man.
Mhm.
Like you're not going to win those folks over by wearing a blue blazer.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
That guy's still going to be
he's
sexist
still going to be sexist.
in your blue. Yeah.
Yeah. You can wear whatever you want. Like you're a woman, he's sexist, you have a problem. That's so to me, I'm just kind of like, we can just set that aside as
Mhm.
like who cares? Like that exists in the world. I mean, I think it's to me, it's just like if that's what makes, and she's clearly wearing a pink plaid suit because that is authentic to her and gives her confidence to stand up in front of a room and speak. That's like her armor. And it's like that's what you're seeing. That's what you're actually seeing. So whatever your pink plaid suit is, understand that is giving her power. Find your pink plaid suit so that it can give you power. And you know, you have to consider the source when you hear comments like that and understand what you're really hearing. Because it's certainly not just like, oh, yeah, that suit is discrediting that woman.
Mhm.
Like, that's ridiculous.
And if you think about it from a marketing standpoint, like here we are, like none of us have seen this woman in a pink plaid suit, but we're all talking about her, thinking like, "Wow, that's cool." Like
Yeah.
She's
she's got the
probably a
power. She's
badass.
got she's a badass for wearing that pink plaid suit. None of us have seen her, so it's like from like that perspective of your own personal brand. I mean, whatever you're like for her, her pink plaid suit is for me is like wearing these like camo cargo pants with a blazer, that's like everybody has their own like authentic thing that makes them feel like them.
Totally.
And it's just kind of like finding that thing that really speaks to you and that makes you feel confident.
Yeah. So, I mean, for your client, yeah, it's not about standing out like that person. It's about finding what the thing is that makes you feel like yourself and gives you that power. Yeah, I think people worry about the wrong things. I'd be worried about not finding that thing and always feeling like a little bit uncomfortable in my clothes or uncomfortable, that I'm doing something wrong, wearing something wrong. Like, I mean, just ugh. It's like find
Yeah.
find it's like find the thing that's so you, and you all of those thoughts that are taking up space that you could be doing thinking about other better things will be gone. Like that concern goes away because you are integrated, like your style is integrated with yourself, and then you can just go forth and think about other things.
Hmm.
That's such an important message because, it is intimidating, I think, when you're a woman and maybe you're in a dominant a male an industry that's dominated by men, and you just feel like femininity is not welcome here, or you just it can be very intimidating. But I think, like you said, once you find something that something to wear that is authentic to you, then you'd find that power, and then all that sexism or side eye from some like awful man, you can withstand it. You can just be like, what, I'm doing my thing.
Totally. And I think it's totally fine and very empowering to try and own the space that like it's okay if people don't understand what you're doing. I understand the right people know what I'm doing, like in terms of fashion. Like I feel like that's all the time in work environments and more conservative places, whether it was like for business travel or like specifically if you're thinking about like board meetings where like people are older, whatever. And it doesn't matter if they don't get it, or if they're just like, what, or it just registers as weird because
Yeah.
the right people always get it. And like I know my audience, like going back to marketing, it's like I have an audience. I know there's an audience for what I do, just the way like I love what other people do, but fashion is communication. It's nonverbal. Like, you can see me walking down the street and understand something about me if you're somebody who understands fashion and style. That's fine. Everybody doesn't have to. So I don't know why everyone is just so constantly concerned with like everyone being comfortable or clarity
Like
or on
other
the same
people.
page, or it's just like we can all exist in different ways and communicate with our clothes in different ways. It's not a single note is correct.
Hmm.
That was kind of
Yeah.
rambling, but kind of all over the place.
Yeah. No, no, no. It means,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so, like, all of that being said, like, you've made it clear that your style has been pretty consistent, but I'm also curious, like, since you have navigated a lot of different industries, like sustainable fashion, resale, luxury, and now you're in a luxury and a luxury tech environment. Has your style evolved at all based on your environment, or has it stayed pretty steady?
I mean, it's evolved in the sense I was thinking about this earlier. Like when I worked at Crossroads, that was an in-office job, and despite it being like this kind of small headquarters, we dressed like the runway every day. Like everyone was going for it.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
oh my God, it was
Right.
so fun. And my style really like I explored a lot during those years. I was all over the map. It was just so fun. You could kind of try anything. And then when I moved, I was in consulting in an agency and then I was at ThredUp. And that was like a much more, it was like an intimidating sort of job and environment. And I worked with a lot of, engineers and data scientists and product people. It's like a tech company. I ran all the creative sides and marketing side, but like the majority of meetings I was in, there was no one who was dressing up for the occasion. And I found it to be super empowering to kind of just lean into it and have a lot of fun being this like very like I am the head of the creative side of this company. I am the brand. We are still like a fashion company, even if we run we run ourselves like a tech company. And so that was like I loved getting dressed there. And also it was again armor to build confidence in a job that I was like growing in.
Hmm.
And then for this job is fully remote. And I have to say it's had like the most impact on my style because I don't like have like a place to like dress up for. And so
Mm.
I've had to figure out what the evolution has really been like, what is my casual style? Because
Mm,
I'm not a particularly casual person in terms like I like getting dressed to go someplace. And
mhm.
Yeah.
the like at home like sweatshirt and jeans Erin never really existed. I obviously learned a bit during COVID, but we would still like get dressed for like because I was in on camera all day, every day in meetings. So yeah, I think that's like the evolution now is like the little more like chill Erin. I don't know. The casual Erin is not particularly like figured out just yet.
I actually just wrote, I have been avoiding LinkedIn like the plague forever. Like that place is like
Many good reasons, many good
it's
reasons.
like the weirdest weird, but like I'm actually working on my own personal brand. So it's like I have to be there. And I actually wrote a post on LinkedIn about working from home and finding that sweet spot between comfort and being elevated because like when you do wear more formal clothes it does like there's like science behind this so where it actually they did studies where they actually found that it enhances your like cognitive capabilities like you actually feel more empowered to do things
It
but
does.
at the same time, like when you're comfortable, you perform better. And so it's like finding that sweet spot. So like yesterday I wore like these like wool pants that were lined and they have like a nice texture. Like wearing them they feel good. They're not tight. They're not too tight, but they're like these wide leg like wool pants and I had a cashmere sweater. Didn't have any meetings with anybody else, but like I was like dressed well enough to like when I went to go take my end of the day and go to the thrift store like I always do, like I just like threw on a trench coat and ran down the street. Like I wasn't running, I was like walking down the street and then some people stopped and was like, hey, like, I like your outfit. It's like Inspector Gadget, but cool.
Oh my God, that's so cute. I love that.
I love that.
I don't know, but it was just like I know I could tell by their vibes that they meant
Yeah.
it was sincere.
It was a compliment.
It was a sincere compliment. It
I
was
love the specificity of it.
Yeah, totally.
but yeah, but finding that sweet spot, like that took a while. It took a while to find that to where you felt like you didn't just roll out of bed, like to have that clear delineator between
Yeah.
like waking up, doing your morning routine, getting kids to school or whatever, and then starting work. So
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna go read your LinkedIn. I'm definitely still like work in progress on that one. It's a little bit of a adventure. I think that coupled with the turning 50, coupled with the kind of like there's another something on the horizon, like where am I gonna land? Uh,
mm,
so it's so I need to embrace it.
yeah. So you have like had access to like many different corners of the fashion industry. And I know that we talked about like authenticity a lot, but like what are the key elements do you think like would you suspect make someone's style feel intentional, polished, and powerful?
Oh gosh, wait. Can you say that one more time? Sorry.
Okay, so what are the key elements that make someone's style feel intentional and powerful?
Mm,
And it's different for everybody, but like
yeah.
what would be the thing?
I I'm thinking of people who I'm like have very intentional styles or who really like get dressed and like what are the elements and it's less of like a single element and more of like a thoughtfulness. Like you can feel the thoughtfulness. I always think that how people use proportions is very evident of intentional dressing when you're thinking about the proportions and weights and lines of like from top to bottom, it's like, and I'll probably admit to like, I am really not a shoe fiend, but I sound like a little bit of a crazy shoe person because I think I feel like that's what I can read the most on people is their shoes and I can generally like if you go top to bottom and it's like the complete look. There's always a perfect shoe to go with like every outfit. And I know a lot of times like I'll get dressed and get to the shoe and I just don't have the shoe, you know? And then it's like the whole outfit has to go because I don't have the shoe for it. And like it lacks that completion. So I think that's probably how I think about people who are like polished and intentional in their dressing is like there's that completionist piece to it, you know? It's the little touches and the shoes.
The shoes and the shoes. You know what? Like you were saying that, and I instantly thought of navy blue boots. I first like where have I seen navy boots? Not I have
Not a
don't
lot of places. Yeah.
not a lot of places, but like how many outfits do I have that I have that are navy, and then I can't wear boots because they're black, or like I could wear brown, but then that offsets the whole outfit. So
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like, where's the navy boot? Try to say
That's
navy
funny that
blue
you
boots.
I used to have a pair of navy blue Doc Martens,
Oh.
Oh,
but I got rid of them. But the problem with those is that they had a like this distressing that I wasn't feeling it. Like if they would have been like a solid like patent leather navy, I think I would have kept them. But the distressing was a little too affected or something. I don't know.
yeah. Sometimes I felt like it was trying too hard.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
look, we already know it's grunge because they're Doc Martens. We don't need to go that step further with the
I,
distressing.
I totally get that. That's like my greatest like most uncomfortable is if I feel like I'm trying too hard, even if like if I feel like I tried, I'm just like, oh God, how awful.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's a really interesting like observation, because I have seen that in my own style, especially like since I've been documenting my style, and then also dressing for the internet. It's like it's a whole other thing, like, and then I tend to feel like, oh, I have to make some kind of like wow thing. And it's like because the way I actually dress, like how I'm dressed like right now, may seem boring in Instagram world, but in real life, it's me, right? But like, how do you know when it's too much? How do you scale back to because I always see that when I, have my clients in the beginning, they're like overworking their outfits.
Yeah.
And by the end, their outfits are a lot clearer and like there's less happening, and yet it's has a higher impact. And so I think that it's a weird thing because it's not like less in terms of less less going on. Well, there is less going on, but it's like less in terms of like not thought through. It's like a thoughtful less, which
Yeah. I
is hard
mean,
to explain.
it is, I mean, it is, I don't know how to like explain that like feeling where, but I feel like everybody's had it or I have it every once in a while. It's very frustrating where for whatever reason, everything you put on, you're just like, it isn't working. Like the things aren't working. The ideas that you had about what you wanted to wear don't work and they just don't, you know? And then other days you can go in and pull three things you've never worn before and thought like, oh, I never thought to put those two together. I never thought to put that shirt under that shirt. And that opens up like six outfits in your closet just because something clicked. How do you explain that? You know, it's just like, it just isn't right until it's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and that overworking is the thing. Like
Yeah.
you're overworking
Yeah.
it, just abandon ship. That's like
A
for me,
bit-
I'm just like if I feel like I'm overworking, it's just like absolutely
Like
not. Stop.
start with a clean
Yeah.
slate, like just start over. Yeah. Is there any kind of trigger for you about the like having tried to or looking like you tried too hard, or is it just kind of a feeling that you can't? It's like a little too hard to explain.
I think it's like, I mean, I know in my mind if there's like either someone maybe like I don't want to admit it, but I'm maybe trying to impress them a little bit, or I have a little extra something. And so I put a little bit of pressure on it. That always ends up being problematic for me. Like, because then I have ideas and then it just, I gotta just, because again, then am I really being authentic or like what is the motivation for my getting dressed? And I usually end up like abandoning ship and like kind of recalibrating and like just trying to find something that makes me feel like myself and confident. And then I'm fine. But I will like wear an outfit almost out the door and then just be like, what am I doing? you know, like I don't, like even if the outfit, like I like it objectively, I'm just kind of like, this is like, I don't feel 100%
It's
myself.
not gonna feel good.
And what is powerful, like if I'm trying to maybe impress someone a little, or I'm a little intimidated or whatever, is like me being comfortable. Like that's what's going to give me what I need, not my perception of an outfit that I thought was like maybe a little bit, you know, cooler on some scale. I don't know.
Mhm.
Now I've just learned to not leave the house, you know. Now I've learned like you just go put something else on until like you feel like yourself.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. And it's like an intuitive process. It
Yeah.
sounds like it's just like feeling it out. Now I feel like me. And I'm wondering, like, you seem to have a very clear vision. I mean, even though you said like you don't know what's happening now because you're
What is happening now?
but at the same time, there is something that is very clear about you knowing when it's right and when it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's a question, but an observation. But I guess like if you could like tell somebody about that and just to like help them find that core thing about them, whether it be like an aspirational version of them or like who they are in that moment, how would you describe it to them?
I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you what it's like for me, and I just feel like I want to know from you too if this is this universal? I assume so. Until you ask me, I just assumed it's kind of the same. Is like I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like a combination of comfort, meaning like fit. It's it's a combination of like 10 different things coming together, right? It's like a lot about proportion, how it fits on my body. There's certain things that I think the way things the proportion or the cut or the drape on my body feels like the most right. I don't know what it is. And it's just certain little things, whether, I mean, that could be like even just like a cut of jeans. Everybody knows like they have their jeans that work for their body in exactly the right way. I think more people can like kind of identify with like good jeans, you know, and people have an idea of what works for their body. It's basically like that knowledge like applied to like a whole outfit and a whole body. There's just certain little tweaks here and there that when you add them together, they work for me in a way that makes me feel like myself.
That's
Yeah.
a really good analogy because I think you're right. I think that so many people have that jeans, that pair of jeans or that style of jeans that fits them
Yeah.
perfect. But that's also been really frustrating post menopause is that like my jeans do not fit the way I want them to anymore. And it's so frustrating because I used to love jeans so much. They were like my go-to. Now I hardly ever wear jeans because they just don't fit me the way I want them to. And I'm trying to get back to a comfort zone with jeans. I'm still working on it because I've been wearing a pair that are like so big they're almost falling off of me, but I don't want them to be tight. So I've
Yeah.
gone to the opposite extreme. So I'm still trying to find that middle ground, and menopause has really thrown a wrench into that whole process, unfortunately.
Yeah, I totally agree with like body shifts, throwing off that like internal like certainty. It definitely is something that I've been working through too. Because yeah, it is like your blue jeans are for me, like if it's just the whole outfit, something, you know, everything starts that perfect fit, that perfect little tweak is like now I have to shift it to something else because that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
It's weird, especially if you've been very consistently like one size or one thing. It's like one you've got your tricks down, you know what works, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super frustrating.
I don't know. Like I feel like I operate off of a feeling. It's I know this sounds like really weird, but like I just feel myself bouncing down the street. And it's just it feels like okay, like I have something I can move, like I feel good, like I could just like walk down the street and just like almost like bursting into a room or something like that. And that's how I feel. And it's just that comfort and finding that comfort is really important. And then going back to the jeans, it's like, I don't know. For me, like I found wearing jeans that are too big. Like I've been really my thing. Like I wear jeans that are too big. Like I don't think that I can wear jeans that are supposedly fitted because they hinder that movement of bouncing down the street.
Down the street. I love that.
I
I
think
don't
that's really good advice also for like, people or like your clients or people in general. Like picture your future self bouncing down the street happily, and just like feeling comfortable. I love that. I'm gonna start using that actually.
Or even just like that just made me think about like, because I was like, could I picture myself bouncing down the street? I'm like, I'm not really a bouncing down the street kind of gal, but I've made it triggered like a thought in my mind that was like, but I do have this vision of myself of how I like to envision myself like walking down the street. I think that's actually like really powerful. I hadn't really thought about
Yeah.
it before, but like that's kind of how who I channel when I know when I am that woman because I can feel it, just like you feel yourself bouncing down the street. And what does that version of yourself like look like? What do you notice about her? It's like for me, it's very like long lines and long layers and kind of oversized silhouettes and everything's kind of flowing, and it's like elegant and chic, and there's not a lot of color happening there. Like I can see her.
So maybe you're not bouncing, maybe you're flowing, or
Kind of
maybe you're
gliding or like
striding. Yeah,
I
so
would
that for your like clients, I'd be so curious. It's like, do they have a like when they see
yeah,
themselves, what do they see?
and for everybody it's going to be different. So
Yeah.
for
yeah.
you it is more that glide, that kind of like almost like this I want to almost ethereal, I would say, because it's kind of like light, this kind of float, like gliding, like this elegance gliding down the
In
street.
my mind, yes. In my mind.
Yeah.
Well, that will not discuss reality, but like that's how that's how I feel when I'm kind of like have hit the right note where I'm perfectly comfortable and like feel really like good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do think that you do glide down the street, so I can see that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But with a presence, like not a flowy, like you're wearing like a hippie dress or something.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like
not like a boho lady, if you can't tell.
yeah, yeah, like
Yeah.
I might
A
be that. That
modern.
might be me. That might be my
I
vision
know.
of
I was like,
myself.
what's yours, Kristen? I can see Janine bouncing down the street. I'm
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to think about this. I think it might really help me with my current struggles with getting dressed. I have to think about it because maybe I'm somewhere between flowing and bouncing. I'm flouncing.
That's a good one. I love that.
Flouncing down the street.
I love that as an assignment though.
Yeah.
Like how does that vision of yourself evolve? Like did you used to know who it was clearly and now you feel like you've kind of lost her a little bit? It's like what does she look like now?
Yeah.
It's like maybe a good exercise for me too. It was like doing
Yes.
any adjustments.
I'm gonna have to make it an exercise in my program. So, yeah.
Some people may have never thought of that. Some people may have never envisioned themselves walking down the street, so it might be really useful.
That's what made me wonder when Janine brought it up. I was like, because I immediately could envision myself. And I was like, oh, I do that. Like I definitely that. That's it. And Janine does it. How interesting. I did not know that. I didn't know I was doing it
Yeah,
consciously.
But it's
that's
more than
cool.
just like bouncing, but it like I can actually feel the clothes moving on my body. Like that when I have that,
Mm.
it's a feel. It's like because I also wear more oversized clothing, and it's like that feeling where it's kind of like touching your body in a more kind of like not clinging to your body, but
Yeah.
it's like you can feel it, the wind moving through, and so, that kind of feeling as you're bouncing down the street. So it's kind of like, yeah. So that's
It's got
the
a tactile aspect to it.
yeah. So
That's
it
cool.
is, but also for me, like it's also I have to have tension in my all of my outfits have to have tension or juxtaposition. Or they don't feel like me. So if I'm wearing like a blazer with trousers and like loafers, that's not Janine. But a blazer and camel pants and sneakers, that's Janine, Or like if I'm wearing trousers and I'm wearing like an anorak or something, like something like has to be off. I'm not a straight person. So it's yeah, so that's the thing. So
That.
yeah, Thank you.
No, I think your style is so distinctive because there's always kind of like this kind of conversation happening, between pieces. And yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so what are your go-tos before we go? Because I know that we're wrapping up here. So, but before we go, what are your go-to styling strategies and like mindset shifts that can help women stop second guessing themselves when they're getting dressed for confidence?
My go-to styling is always rolling things up. I feel like sleeves are, it's amazing how much change can happen from just like where you push your sleeves to, whether it's a blazer or rolling up a shirt and then layering. I'm like a huge, massive layering person. So I will put anything under anything at least once, it's like a buttoned up shirt, buttoned all the way up is like my nearest and dearest. And I think just like playing with layering unusual things, and you can often be really surprised by how much just an additional layer elevates things. What are my go-to styling too? Blazers. I love blazers. And jackets. I love jackets generally, just like an oversized top layer. I add to most outfits. I had a joke for a long time that I had that clothing company Huga, but I really should have called it just like coats and totes, because that's all I really care is like oversized bags and tons of coats. I love like layers and layers and layers.
Oh, that coat that you had was really, really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
I
I
had
love
one
that.
and I wore it till it disintegrated.
I'm so sad it disintegrated. I
Yeah,
should,
it was like 5 years of wearing it like every day. So
okay,
it
Wow.
had a good run.
uh,
It
I'm
was
glad it
worn
went.
over 1,000 times. So
Like, I mean, that coat was really like just very much based on something that I wanted as a layering piece, and I wanted something that had some interest to it. It had paint splatter all over it that could have a lot of conversation go with a lot of other things, like look great with stripes. Like, I just think if you're going to do a mixed pattern, something like a paint splatter kind of goes with everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah,
love
so
it.
for
Yeah.
those of you who are listening, the coat she's talking about, it was like kind of a kimono cut with a paint splatter, but it was on denim.
Denim.
The blue
And then
denim.
Denim.
and then there was this cool lining was like this window pane lining that was like cotton. So it was like a cotton, it was all cotton so you can wash it.
Yeah.
So which was like it was all like practical and
I can't remember if it
really
had a belt. Did it
No,
have a
no
belt?
belt.
No belt, just to open. Yeah.
felt
Very easy to throw on over anything because of the big arms. So even if you had like a bulky sweater on, you could like put it over that.
yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was a pure utility. It was meant for pure utility. It was like, I want this so many times, I'm gonna have to make it. Like you
Yeah,
could,
I remember you
you're
saying
like,
that at the time.
I was like, I know what I need, I just can't find it. So I guess I'm gonna make it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. I miss it. So you'll have to return to it one day. So
Hey, who knows?
who knows? Oh, so do you want people to find you
Oh
anywhere?
yeah.
Oh, well, if I can, I'm gonna plug my partner's little side venture that I've been helping with, which is actually really, really fun. He works in the music business. This has nothing to do with that, other than he has a compulsive need to make merch. He makes like insane merch, and now he just ends up wearing it. And I was like, can you please just start putting up a site? They're all back, like have amazing stories. So he started designing. I'm supporting his little burgeoning fashion designer impulses. So I'll plug his site, which is weusedtohangout.com,
We used to hang
We
out.
used to
Oh,
hang
that's a
out.com.
cool name.
And
which has its
is
own
it
story, but
merch?
I'll save it for that. What's that?
Is it merch for like bands type merch or like what kind of
I
merch?
call it merch because he works in music, and so it like is treated like merch. But basically,
Uh-huh.
yeah, he just designs t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, random tote bags, but they all have different themes that come from his crazy creative mind, where you'll see the origin story of We Used to Hang Out as well. But
Oh,
it
that sounds
ladders back
fun.
to, it's like, I won't get into it because it's a longer story, but his father had an import business from Afghanistan called Kandahar Fashion. And it was like an Elle magazine, all these things. And he found the original label from Kandahar Designs and made this whole line in memory of his father who passed away, centered around the Kandahar designs. And then it was just like so beautiful and so cool, just like had so much like rich backstory to it. And he's always done that for different things that he gets hung up on. We used to hang out, being another one that has a story. And so he would make things for the people that were involved with it. And I was like, you have to just start putting these little collections online because people are constantly stopping you, asking you where you got various things that you just made for yourself. So
That's a good sign.
That
Okay,
is so
I had to
cool.
check it
Well,
out. Sounds cool.
yeah. And
we
we'll put a
had all
link
of
in our
that
show
out.
notes.
What's that?
Yeah, no, we'll put a link in our show notes
Oh
so
yeah, that'd
people
be
can
great.
find that.
That'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy that you were able to make time for us. And, it's always really great to see you. So,
No, it's my pleasure. This has been
So
so fun. It's
awesome
so
to
fun. You
chat.
never get to sit and like talk about personal style and fashion. So this has been like a huge treat. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.